Welcome to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman here with Mark Skabowski of Remax Lakes. Welcome to the show.
Morning, how are you?
Doing well as we get closer and closer to spring break.
Hallelujah.
Yep, I got a trip coming up here for that, so I'm looking forward to that. And I know in the springtime, that's when the market tends to get hot.
It does. Things increase as far as activity level goes. And, a lot of people have, hey, I said all winter, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house. So what we wanted to talk about today are some tips to help you get it ready to sell in the spring. So ultimately, fix a lot of things. Curb appeal is still huge in the marketplace. There was a time you could price it, throw it out there, pretty much anything would sell, right? There was such strong demand for homes. We're back to where you actually have to get your home ready to sell. Mm-hmm. And I jokingly talked about when I would go out and meet with a potential seller, I'd do the Captain Skabowski inspection. We'd go through and, well, you need to do this, what are those things? What things do you need to do to try to maximize and allow your home to sell? Now, the things I'm talking about, the number one is price. Yeah. The number one thing to do is price it correctly.
Well, that's where you start pretty much. You look at these homes in this price range. Yeah.
You need to price it correctly for today's market. And I think that's where we're still in that little shift we talked about last week. Are we in a balanced market? Are we, and I said, we're getting there. Yeah. Balanced, equal number of sellers, equal number of buyers. Homes are selling in an average amount of time that's pretty reasonable. Well, you still have to price in today's market, not 2 and 3 years ago. We still have people coming in, well, I bought it in 20, late 20, and I know the market went up 40%. Homes similar to mine went up 40%, so I paid $200 for it. I should sell it for $400 now 3 years later.
Oh, wow.
Or 4 years later.
I'd be buying a lot more homes if
I wish, time machine back. I could have bought a bunch then and turned around and sell it.
Yeah.
Which in some instances, yes, if you've made improvements and things like that to the home. But bottom line, you need to price it properly. Mm-hmm. The fact that your neighbor's home sold for X, whatever that is, doesn't mean that your house is the same. Right. So what do appraisers look at? What do we look at from an agent standpoint when we try to help you sell your home is square footage, age, and condition. Mm-hmm. In a lot of places, you can't get that condition out of pictures, right? So my stepmom has got a house listed in Florida right now, and it's funny. They've talked to an agent, and they've looked at it, and it's $449 is what they've got their house listed for, because the one very similar to theirs sold for $452, but there's also one the exact same floor plan that sold for $375. Well, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Well, she said, well, that one that's $375 needed a lot of work. It hadn't been painted, hadn't been updated, hadn't all of these things, which that's all well and good, but buyers don't see that because they jump out and they go, oh, Zillow says it's worth X.
Yeah.
Zillow is not the end all because Zillow uses an algorithm to pull average data from all over the place.
And what you always say is that real estate is local.
It is definitely local.
Zillow's that's like national. That's just pulling, like you said, algorithm.
It's national, and it pulls out algorithm from within a county, but it can't tell you the difference between Winona Lake and Wawasee.
Right, exactly.
Right, if you've got a lake home on Winona Lake and you've got a lake home on Wawasee, two very different environments.
Well, that's the human factor is not involved in that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and the the values of the homes that are around it. Because if you went on Eli Lilly Road up on Lake Wawasee, all along there, the values of those homes as compared to going on right along the lakeshore on Winona Lake over here on Park Avenue, two totally different areas.
Right.
A lake home on Winona Lake is not going to be worth, same size, same age, whatever, is not going to be worth the same price as what you're going to see up on Lake Wawasee. So real estate is definitely local, but price when you're trying to sell it is one of the most important pieces. It's not emotional to an agent. It is not emotional. They're stating the facts. Yeah. And, we all want to get as much as we can out of trying to sell our house, but the reality is we want to sell our house.
Yeah.
Throwing it against the wall to see if it'll stick, it's a sure way to get lots of days on the market. And the longer it sits on the market, what happens? People go, what's wrong with it?
Right.
You know, I get those calls every day. I looked at this house and it's been out there for 60 days. What's wrong with it?
Mm-hmm.
Which I can think back to 2008, 2009 when we've been on the market for 270 days.
Oh boy, yeah.
And it's like, hey, it's a good value.
Right, yeah.
Where it's at.
Yeah.
You know, because people were so used to just like 3.5% interest rates. Now they hear 7. I'm going to wait for rates to drop to 3.5. Not going to happen.
You're going to wait a long time.
Not going to happen. So from a seller standpoint, I think you need to, yeah, we all want to build in a little bit of, hey, I can negotiate. But if you're not getting any showings and there's demand, it's price in general.
Mm-hmm.
Or you got to listen to the feedback of people that are looking at your home. If it stinks, dogs, cigarette, any of that stuff, which were another tip, which will, after the break, we can talk about some more things that you definitely need to fix up before you put your house on the market. But, you know, that price is the most critical point in getting your home sold.
That's a big one. That's a big
It is a biggie.
That's a great one to start with. Yep,
Yeah.
more tips on selling your home this time, this time of year. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Welcome back. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman here with Mark Skabowski of Remax Lakes, and we're talking about listing your home, putting it up for sale in the springtime. And so you're sharing some tips. We started with a doozy. Price. You got to price it right.
That's the uncomfortable one.
Yeah.
But it's the elephant in the room. You got to have that discussion.
Yes, you do. You do.
And then beyond that, you know, it's just the overall condition of the house. Take a look at your home as a buyer would look at your home.
Yeah.
That's the best advice that I could give to anybody thinking about selling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I constantly get the call, well, should I put a new kitchen? Should I put a new bath? You know, all of those things, if you were going to do it, should have done it before.
Right.
Because the payback on, you know, a kitchen, I forget what the statistic is for 24, but in general, it's about 80 to 85%. So if you spend 10 grand, you get $8,500 back.
Mm-hmm.
If you're selling in the next 6 months, probably not a good time to go and do any major renovations.
No.
So the things that I'm talking about are easy, relatively inexpensive things that can help get your house sold more quickly. I'm not saying we're going to jack the price up, but maybe we don't have to reduce as much to get it sold.
Gotcha.
Is where I'm going to with that.
Okay.
So take a look at it as a buyer would. Go step out in front of your house. What's my yard look like?
Yeah.
Is it a disaster? This time of year it's hard. You know, you got snow, no snow. You know, it's all torn up. It just looks dull and dreary.
Yeah.
You know, once things start greening up, things look a lot better.
Right.
But take a look at the outside. Or your bushes need to be trimmed.
Yeah.
Does it look like you've got deferred maintenance? You haven't taken care of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is your garage door painted, peeling paint? All of that stuff coming off. Your front door. Painting your front door, your window, that entryway, because that's where buyers are coming into your house. That's one of the best places to start. To make sure that it's appealing to them coming up.
Mm-hmm.
The yard's trimmed, it just doesn't look nasty outside. Pick up, you know, we got snow that's left sticks, paper, things that blew out of your neighbor's trash or land. Pick it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's common sense, but a lot of people don't do that.
But it's pretty amazing on how well it will look, how much nicer it will look if you just, you know, pick that stuff up and clean it up a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm not talking just the front yard. Do the backyard too, because they're going to look at the backyard.
Yeah, they're going to look at that.
So clean around up outside. So speaking of going in the front door, make sure the front door, you know, it opens easily. It doesn't stick. Mm-hmm. The locks themselves, you'd be surprised the number of phone calls I've got from agents to where, hey, I can't get in the house. So experienced agent tip, I keep a can of WD-40 in my car.
Yeah.
So when I pull up, locks dry out. Over time, you go to turn, they'll catch. The key lock will catch a little bit. Just a little squirt of WD-40 in there, put that key in, turn it, presto magic.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You want to make
stuff,
sure that your house is available and accessible when you do get a showing, that they can get in. Right. So if you're locked, you know, hey, you got to pull twice on the door and stand on your head and whatever to get the door open, make it easy for people to come in.
Right.
So other than that, light bulbs in the house, make sure you got all the light bulbs changed.
Right.
That's nothing worse than walking in, seeing a ceiling fan, and it's got 4 bulbs, and 2 of them are burned out.
Mm-hmm.
Because what are buyers thinking then at that
point? If you're not taking care of that, what else are you
You're not taking care of light bulbs? Yeah. What else are you going to do? These are easy things you ought to do anyway. Mm-hmm. Right? Unless you just get used to it and you're, well, I don't care, it's dull and, you know, it's not as well lit in my room. Fix the light bulbs. Damaged Screens.
Oh,
People
yeah.
look out the windows, right? I know a lot of people take their screens off in the winter. Some don't. Take them off in the winter, put them back on. But if you got big rips in the screen, you're looking out the window, you got to tear in the screen.
Yeah.
You can repair screens. There
Yeah.
are places here that you can
Absolutely.
get screens repaired, things like that. Clean your ceiling fans. Get rid of the dust bunnies.
Yeah.
Get rid of the dust bunnies. So we've got in our house, our living room is 2 stories up. I mean, it's open all the way to the top. Big ceiling fan up there. I bought a tool on Amazon.
Okay.
I mean, it's the coolest thing. It's one of those microfiber, but you can bend it and do whatever.
Oh,
I got
nice.
An extension on a paint pool.
Oh, yeah.
I can knock those dust bunnies off.
Yeah.
It's terrible because it's amazing how much you pick up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, over the course of a winter. If you haven't done it in years, over the course of a few years.
Yeah.
Clean those dust bunnies. Your register vents. Clean your register vents.
Right.
Those are things, again, you see it, you don't even think about it. Clean your ceiling fan, clean the door sills, clean.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, if you've got pets, cats especially, clean the litter box. Clean the litter box. 'Cause if people, when they open the door, they just get that fantastic smell
Yeah.
coming at them, hard to get past that.
Right.
It is hard to get past that. If you've got pets that have messed in the house and you've got that smell, it is hard to overcome. It's hard to clean. People are worried about it. If you've smoked in your house.
Yep.
Now, I know fewer people smoke, and you know, the longer you smoke, the less you're going to be understanding of what. Yeah, I don't smell it. Well, of course you don't. It's your,
It's your
you
smell.
smoked
It's,
it,
yeah,
and you know what?
yeah.
I'm not. If you want to smoke in your house, you feel free.
Right.
I'm not saying don't smoke. I'm not saying don't smoke in your house. All of those things, I'm not promoting smoking.
Yeah. But it will factor
it
in.
will factor into the sale of your home because it leaves a film on the paint.
Right.
Right? It
And-
truly does.
And it gets into the drywall.
It
and
gets
it's-
into everything
yeah.
that stinks. And
Yeah.
if you've got a non-smoker looking at your house or not, it's in the carpet, it's in the fibers.
Right.
So clean, get rid of those odors. Get
Mm-hmm.
rid of any odors that you can get. Take your garbage out. Take your, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? All of those things, keep it clean and as few smells as possible. Worst case, if you got to paint a room, paint it neutral. I always get, well, we don't want to paint because we don't know what color they want.
Yeah.
Make it neutral.
Right.
Make it neutral, and you're all good. So fix those lights, a little bit of paint if you choose to. Don't spend a lot of money on updates if you're thinking of selling in the next couple of months.
Right.
Don't go out and do a major rehab,
Yeah.
you know, because in all likelihood, you're not going to get that money back.
Yeah, and for the most part, like paint. Paint's pretty cheap.
Paint's
you
pretty
know?
cheap.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can fix it up pretty nice and still be yet inexpensive. So.
Yeah, do an inexpensive fix,
All
absolutely.
right. So if you'd like to continue this conversation with Mark, make sure you reach out. Mark, contact info.
Sure, website, skabowskiteam.com, phone numbers 574-527-0660.
All right, you've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.